Hello, and welcome back to the Spoiler Cast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them. My name is Tobias, and with me, as always, is my sister and trusty co-host, Rebecca.
Hello!
Hello! And in this episode, we're talking about two new movies. More or less new movies. I mean, they came out...
Relatively new.
They came out this year. One of them came out late last month.
Yes.
Both are from July. Right, yeah. And we there was nothing new to talk about this week, so we decided we'd talk about something relatively new. So, and they're both horror movies, so we thought, why not talk about both of them? And it's sort of like a summer catch-up episode as well, so why not talk about them? We're going to talk about Insidious, The Red Door, and Talk to Me, the movie by the YouTubers Racka Racka, which I never thought they would make a movie like that. But that's beside the point. We'll start with talking about Insidious, The Red Door.
Yes.
But I also want to start by saying thank you so much for listening to us. And also, if you want to have even more spoiler casts, check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Exclusive episodes, commentary tracks. You get to pick what movies we talk about if you want to. We have, fan requests, So check that out. Patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. But now, we should get into Insidious, The Red Door.
Yes.
Yeah!
Whoa.
I'm gonna do 2 intros on this episode. Right. So, we've talked a lot about the Conjuring universe in this podcast.
Yes.
We've done several episodes on the Conjuring universe. We've talked about, of course, the third Conjuring movie. We're both fans of the Conjuring universe.
Yeah.
And we're doing another episode on it, another couple of episodes, I think, later this year, in September, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, when The Nun 2 comes out.
Yeah, we'll work around that.
Yes. And it's kind of funny saying, we're fans of the Conjuring universe, when, 80% of it sucks, though.
Yes.
Mainly the Conjuring movies, the actual Conjuring 1, 2, 3 are good, and really only 1 and 2 are good. And if you really want to be picky, it's really the first one that's good.
We do still enjoy the entire universe.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
a nice world building without, world building really.
Yeah, exactly. It's not so fucking forced like it was or is in Marvel.
Yeah.
They just, they slip it in. Oh, and there's a little reference to that movie. Ooh, there's a little reference to this. And how
and they stay on the same.
Off of that?
They keep the same style, sort of, through a lot of them. Yeah. Not all of them, unfortunately, but a lot of them.
Yeah, and of course, that was back when we did the episode on the whole universe. I still, and I have rewatched it since, think that the third Annabelle movie, the third spin-off Annabelle movie, is one of the better modern horror movies that's been made. If you remember that conversation.
No, I don't, and I don't remember which one is the third Annabelle movie.
Annabelle Comes Home, when the daughter of the Warrens
right.
have friends
that
over,
one.
And they let Annabelle out, or they let a demon out. Yeah. And I even made a video about it called Alanizing Perfection, which is really just about one scene in the movie, but still, So
Sure.
There are definite gems in that franchise.
Yes.
However, and that's all, James Wan's universe. He directed the first Conjuring, and the second one. And he's
been producing, right?
He's producing everything else. He's the Kevin Feige of the Conjuring universe.
Yes.
He's
just doing a better job.
his puppeteering everything around. Yeah, exactly. But his and I'm sure we've talked about this as well, but it's been a while.
Probably.
His reign of terror, so to speak, didn't, because it's horror movies. Didn't start with the Conjuring. It actually started a couple of years earlier. Well, I was going to say with the Insidious movies, but if you be really picky, it actually started a few years before Insidious with Saw.
Yes.
Which he also kept producing for like a decade, and now they're even making another one. So, but we're gonna focus on Insidious, which after Saw was his big Hollywood breakthrough, because after Saw he didn't do much until Insidious. And it was Insidious that really kicked off the new wave of jump scare movies, I would say, because it came in 2010. Which was, we've talked about all the waves, we've talked about the waves of horror. And Insidious, together with The Conjuring, really kicked off the PG-13, jump scare, wave, which, went on, up until a few years ago, and now is kind of having a resurgence, with The Nun 2, and Insidious the Red Door this year. So, we should talk about... we're not going to talk about the whole Insidious franchise.
No, because I'm not sure I've seen all of them, if I'm being honest.
I
might have skipped The Last Key. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I felt like I got a jolt by my charging cable. Jesus. Anyway.
So I will have to watch that before I can do a proper ranking or talking properly about the entire universe, but because I'm not sure if I ever saw that one.
No, The Last Key wasn't that. That's where I thought the Insidious franchise was gonna die out, because you had the first one, great little horror movie, introduced everyone to the Tiptoe Through the Tulips song.
Yes.
Which was, every horror fan was like, ooh, for a while with that song.
Oh, and it's coming back in waves as well. It became like a sound on TikTok that was very popular for a while.
Exactly. Then you have the second one, which I probably would say is the best one. It really feels like it's like, don't take this the wrong way. It's the Godfather Part 2 of horror movies.
Okay.
I mean,
those are bold words.
Of jump scare movies, because it's it's so much bigger, and it builds so well upon what happens in the first movie, but also on the like origin stories of the characters, which we also get in that movie. We get so much of Patrick Wilson's childhood in that movie, and how that affected him in his grown-up years in the first movie, and why we have now arrived where we are in the second movie.
It's like a well-combined prequel and a sequel, sort of.
Yeah.
Or at least the story of it.
Just like we get, Michael Corleone in the second Godfather movie, now having moved on, being the Godfather, basically, of his family. And we also get the story of his father, who died in the first movie. We get the story of how he came to America, how Vito Corleone became the Vito Corleone from the first movie.
Sure.
It's literally like The Godfather, just not as good. I'm not saying they're both as good. But
they're very different movies.
There's similarities in like story structure, basically. Sorry, there are.
It's fine.
And it has some wonderfully like constructed jump scares with the lady who was walking through the hallways and going shh. And the baby stroller, and it's so good. Anyway, and then we have a third one, which is just a prequel.
That's the one with the girl in the wheelchair, right?
Yes, it's
I have seen that one.
It's surprisingly good for a low budget prequel to a B tier horror movie. I actually kind of like it, and it has some genuinely scary stuff in it. Not just jump scare stuff.
Have to be honest, I don't remember enough of it. I think I've only seen it like once or twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I saw it in the cinema, and then I bought it, and I've probably seen it like 3 or 4 times in the almost 10 years since it came out. And then, of course, you have The Last Key, which I've only seen once. It was in the cinema. It's another prequel. Basically the same like plot as, or story, I should say. Story as Insidious 3. Just with new characters. Well, they introduced a bunch of newer, younger characters because, number 3 and 4 were really all about the old medium, Elise
Rainier.
Right. Elise Rainier. So they were like almost like building the franchise upon her, but I mean she was like in her late 60s, early 70s even back then, I think.
Yeah.
So they were like, we have to introduce younger characters that can take over when she's too old. So that movie also has that feeling like this is the end of the franchise as we know it, but it's also a new beginning. But it was, it's the worst of them all. And it didn't do well, so they kind of scrapped that idea. And then, it's like 5 years since The Last Key, I think?
Yeah, Last Key 2018, yeah.
They decided to do, like, a proper sequel to...
the original two.
Yeah, to Chapter 2, right. So this should really be Chapter 3, but unfortunately they named the prequel Chapter 3, which doesn't make sense. It should have been like Insidious Zero, which is the thing they did with horror movies like in the 90s. The Ring Zero, sort of. I think they have like a Ju-on Zero. Missed Call Zero, I think. Maybe that was a Japanese thing, I don't know. Either way.
Could have adapted it.
Yeah,
fine.
Definitely.
Adopted it, I mean.
Adapt, yeah, well, yeah.
But no.
No.
We came to the red door instead.
The red door.
It works.
It works, because there was always this red door. It didn't... I back then I didn't think it had the significance, like, ooh, the red door represents... No, it's just the door kind of moving into, the depths of the further, sure.
Yes.
So you knew that the red door was creepy, but it was never like this big thing, so... It's a stretch, but it works as just a name for the movie. Sure. But yeah, this takes place... It comes out 10 years... No, yes!
Yeah.
10 years after the second one. But it's annoying because in the movie it says 9 years later. It's like, probably because they made it 9 years after the second one.
Yeah, and they didn't count the last year needed for like post-production and
probably some pandemic delays as well, I think, still.
Yes.
But yeah, it comes out and it picks up 10 years, 9 years, whatever, after, and
family has moved on.
They've moved on, and if you remember the ending of the second one, in order to kind of defend themselves against more intrusions by demons and ghosts, the Josh and what's the son called? Dalton, right. Josh and Dalton. Josh the daddy, Dalton the son, who are both able to, travel to this further place. They decide... Astral project, right, yeah. Yes. They decide to get hypnotized to forget both about, all the happenings of the last year that those movies takes place over. And of course, any, like, memories of the further or memories of astral projecting and everything like that. So,
they decide to do it as like move on and like so they don't get tempted to do it again, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's no chance of anything slipping through again.
Yes.
So time moves on. And honestly, what I was glad to get another one of the Insidious movies because I like the Insidious movies. I both like and don't like where this movie starts. Because it's the classic, like, why didn't you just leave these characters alone? Because we had a happy ending in the second one.
Yes.
Like, the family was safe. They were together. They got rid of their demons. They got rid of the further. But, that doesn't make for a good, sequel. If you want to make another sequel, like, to put them in that situation. So we start with them 9 years later now. They start with a funeral, which just puts a dour on everything. Josh's mom, the kid's grandma, has died. Probably because they couldn't get that actress back. I get the feeling.
Also maybe they just needed, like, something to bring the family together.
Yeah, sure.
Tension and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, the parents have separated. I don't think they have divorced yet, but they have separated.
Yes.
Josh has a terrible relation with his children now.
Specifically
Dalton. Yeah, but he's really distant from everyone. Really, even the wife, whatever her name. What's her name?
Renee.
Right. Which is annoying because at least Rainier is the medium, and Renee is the wife of Josh, the mother of the children. Yeah.
The only one he doesn't really have a bad relationship with is the daughter, Kali, because she was too young to know what happened and realize like why they separated.
She's not really a character in the movie, though. She kind of disappears after that opening scene.
Yeah. The middle son, Foster, is just slightly in it to be like...
Yeah. This is really a movie about Dalton and Josh, definitely.
Yes.
So, and
Mom and Foster are just there to, like, convey information at points.
Yeah. So, yeah, Josh has been has had like a brain fog for the last few years. He says the last few years, but I'm wondering if it's been like for 10 years, or maybe it's like getting worse and worse. I don't know. Because
I'm assuming it got worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, combination of being hypnotized, technically being under hypnosis, like, all of the time, and then getting older, and then stress with the mother getting sick and dying, because he had taken care of her for a while.
Yes,
they mentioned
they don't explain it, but they do tell us through some visual storytelling.
Oh,
that
yeah,
he
that's
has
true.
been living in not his mother, a house with his mother.
Yeah, with his mother.
Yeah, with his mother.
Her hospital bed and thing. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he lives in the adjacent bedroom.
Yeah.
So he feels like, because now Dalton is going off to college. He's college age now.
Yes.
What's the actor's name? Because he's actually been popping up in other stuff.
Ty Simpkins,
right?
Last thing we saw him in was The Whale.
Yeah, exactly. He's the little Bible kid.
Yeah,
the church kid. Yeah, he's going off to college.
Oh, he's actually in The Last Key. How does that make sense?
I think he's like in flashback scenes or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Flash forward scenes.
Yeah, whatever.
So Josh sees this as an opportunity for his last ditch effort to reconnect with his son.
Yes.
Drive him over to college. They're taking him to this nice liberal arts college where he's gonna be an artist, which is just like so funny.
An art major, yeah.
Who the fuck does art major nowadays?
A lot of people.
I know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
No, we shouldn't say anything. Neither of us have an education like that, and we like talking about movies, which is art. So
yeah. But you see, you can do it without having a 3-year education in it.
Sure.
So we're not tens of thousands of dollars in debt because of it.
No, that's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Whatever.
Whatever. He wants to do that. That's his passion.
Yeah,
he wants to study under this Professor Armageddon.
Yes, which I thought was going to be a bigger character, but she isn't. She's in like 3 scenes.
Yeah, she's just an initiator to certain events.
Yeah. Yes, because of course this 3-day
car ride.
Yeah, car ride doesn't really go anywhere. It actually ends with them like on even worse terms. They actually kind of snap at each other at the end.
Yes.
Josh leaves and has a little cry in his car, which I think is a great scene.
Yeah.
Because
he tried so hard and he got so frustrated with his son, he just couldn't help it anymore.
Yeah. And it's one of those scenes which we need more of. To shows like the positive sides of masculinity instead of just showing toxic masculinity all the time. Like, he gets upset. He's angry, of course, because that's the go-to. I'm sorry, it is.
That's the reaction. That is initial reaction. That's fine.
But then he's like, fine, I'll just leave. And then you see him walking across the campus, and he started moving faster and faster. You can see his face like scrumpling up. Then he gets to the car and it's like,
he just wants to close the door so he can cry in peace.
I thought it was great. It was a great.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah. But then Dalton has his first art class, and he is told to like close his eyes and like bring up a memory, something something significant, and then draw that, because art has to come from a place within. It can't just be because the teacher talks to the kid who does the super photorealistic painting of some guy with a sword.
Yeah.
She's like, it's really well drawn. Like, the technique is perfect. rip it up. It's pointless.
Yeah, where's the emotion?
Yeah, there's no personality to it. And he's like, no. And she's like, our first failure. Get the fuck out, basically.
Classic teacher thing. That, yes, we will always have one who leaves in the first class.
Yeah. And of course, Dalton is like, I'll rip up my photorealistic picture of my grandma. Rip! And then he starts drawing,
Well, there's the, she does the whole close your eyes and think, and then she goes tap, tap, tap. While she says something, she counts or something.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That happens to be the same thing the what's it called? Hypnotist uses to trigger them going away from the further.
I didn't connect
So her doing that tap, tap, tap and the counting or whatever snaps him out of it.
Right.
More or less. Which is why he then realizes, there's a door. I'm thinking of a door. I don't know why.
Yeah, so he draws the door, and something reaches out for him. And he starts remembering things. And at the same time, because they're kind of connected, Josh starts remembering things as well. Dark things, red doors and stuff. And then
things start popping up around them as well.
Yeah. I mean, even before that, we do get small glimpses of things trying to reach Josh. Even at the funeral.
That's true.
And from then on, hilarity ensues. It's a lot of jump scares. We don't have to go through the entire story, but we need to get to that point. Because we're only 20 minutes into this. But so I'll just ask you, now that we're here, what did you think of Insidious, The Red Door?
I thought it was a pretty good, continuation and also closing of the original Insidious movies. I'm not counting the prequels.
Sure.
Because
there's spin-offs.
Wasn't necessary, but it was a fun effort, and I'll not approve it, but I can respect it.
Sure, yeah.
It was well made for the most part. It was fun to see a bit of a development of the characters, because we finally get to see Josh being something different than just strong dad.
Yeah.
The kids are kind of boring, but I mean, they were kids in the first movies. We didn't really get personalities off of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Dalton was in a coma for most of the first one.
Yeah, exactly. And Ty Simpkins.
Unfortunately, Rose Byrne isn't in it much.
No, that sucks.
She was in it more.
Yeah.
She was the best part of the first two movies.
Yeah, because the story is, I mean, as much as the story is about Josh and Dalton, it's specifically the second movie is more about her.
Well, the first one too. Everything revolves around her experiencing all of this.
Yeah, I guess.
But the experience comes from what Dalton and Josh are bringing into their life.
Yeah, she's kind of the audience character.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of sucked.
We did get a replacement a little bit with the accidental roommate.
Ugh, yeah.
Chris, who turned out to be female Chris, that got placed in the male dorms. I don't know.
No, I think they're just... maybe she did, yeah.
No, they say that it was mix-up because your name is Chris, not Christina.
Well, she still lives in the same dorm, just in not the same dorm room, because she's just one
dorm room
flight
is fine.
up later.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
She's a little bit of the audience here.
Yeah.
Being reintroduced to all of it. She's the new audience.
Yes.
For those who didn't really watch the originals.
Yeah. Which makes her feel like she's from another movie. She feels like she's from a modern horror movie. Well, this is really trying to be more of a early 2010s movie. This movie wants to be 10 years old, basically.
Yes.
And that's a clash. And kudos to her. She did a good job acting. But that character, I couldn't stand her.
No.
Very annoying. Because that's also while they're trying to make her more of a progressive person, modern, she's also very stereotypical. She's the sassy black lady.
Yeah.
From old horror movies. She's doesn't work.
No, it doesn't really meld properly.
No, yeah. And it just felt like we don't really need a comedic sidekick for these movies.
No.
We've kind of had like...
Sure, she was a good contrast to some of Dalton's like cowardness, I suppose, or carefulness.
Sure.
Which was needed at points, but then she went too far. She reminded me too much of those spoof movies.
Scare movie?
Yeah, scary movie, the first one.
Yeah.
I don't remember the character's name. Well, the Black Funny Girl, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't remember her name as well. I haven't seen those movies in so long.
Unfortunately, she also kind of looks like her.
Hey, don't be racist.
No, they have like similar face structure, and they both have what's it called?
Braids? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Box braids or braids or whatever. There was just an unfortunate likeness between them, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Probably not intentional, though. I hope not.
I don't know. There were never any black people in these movies before, so they were like, well, we need it. We need a black person. We need some diversification.
Well, they didn't have a lot of exposure in the other movies because they only take place in like their house.
Very close. Yeah, family unit. Yeah. There is the black.
Here we're
there is a black neighbor in the third one. I suppose that's something.
Yeah. In this one, we're reaching out. We're outside of their house. We're outside of their city, even like state, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, obviously, there's other people around, and let's just make sure they're diverse, okay? You know?
Yep.
We don't see a lot of other people in general, though. There's the party in the other frat house, but that's about it.
That's about it, yeah. And that's what I would say about this. I liked it as well. It's not as good as the original movies.
No.
And you can really tell that this style of movie making, belongs in the last decade. We've moved on from this kind of filmmaking, even though, these kind of movies still exist.
Or perhaps they just need the correct director.
Yeah.
Not that Patrick Wilson didn't do a good job.
No, I like the fact that he wanted to direct. And it wasn't just like, okay, I'll do it.
This is his only directing, though, right?
Yes, because he wanted to direct, and he chose to make this movie. Like, it was his, not the idea to like the story or the story or something, but like his
initiative.
He wanted to revisit these characters, and he was like, I can direct it even. So it just shows how cool Patrick Wilson is, that he likes these kind of movies. That's why he's in them. So much that he actually wants to go back and direct one of them. I like that. I've always enjoyed Patrick Wilson, but this just
one of the writers, which helps obviously. Yeah.
Which one?
I think
Lee Wannell?
He was.
Because he came up with the story, I think.
Yeah.
Because he wrote the original together with James Wan, and then he was involved in the story of the other ones, I think.
Yeah,
Him, of course, also moved on and made, the Invisible Man movie, and, he made one of my favorite movies, Upgrade, a few years ago. Well, 2018. Same year as Last Key. And also involved in the Saw movies, because Lee Wannell and James Wan are kind of a, creative duo, even though they've grown apart. But, where was I? Yeah, this movie, though, maybe more, but I don't know. Because of the subject matter, and because that they really want to emulate a classic jump scare movie from the 2010s, I'm thinking, I don't know if another director could have done this any better, because, I think this is as good as it gets with the stuff they had to work with, honestly.
Sure, and Patrick Wilson obviously tried to do as much as he could to mimic or keep the style of the originals.
Yeah.
If they had picked someone who had nothing to do with the originals, it would have been a disaster, most likely.
Yeah.
It's possible it would have been slightly better if James Wan was actually directing.
Would have been cool to see him do that, but, he is busy.
It's not his thing anymore, probably. He's a little bit busy.
Yeah, he's busy making Aquaman 2 or whatever.
Yeah. Or maybe he doesn't want to do another Insidious movie.
No, yeah.
He might have moved on.
He's moved on.
But it was good effort, and I don't dislike it.
No, I didn't dislike it.
It's not the best one, but if I'm gonna talk about the Insidious movies, I'll watch 1, 2, and this one more than I'll watch 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, sure. It's a dead heat for me between Chapter 3 and this one, I would say, because I like the third one.
I need to rewatch 3 before I say anything like that, to be fair, but you know what I mean.
This movie did give us, and a lot of people agree with me on this one, it did give us one of the scariest jump scares in recent memory. One that, if you're going to remember this movie for something, it's for that scene.
The one you meant, you were like, there's one scene I need to see your reaction to, which is why you saw it twice in theater.
Yes, because I saw it myself. Because I was like, we're not going to talk about this on the podcast. I'll just watch it for myself. And then I was like, nope, Rebecca needs to see this. And this is a spoiler cast. We're not going to talk more about the plot, but there's that scene.
No, there's just one scary
so
scene.
if you don't want that scare ruined for you, turn this off now.
Hopefully you've already seen it, because it's been out
for like a month. Yeah.
So
if you're going to see it, it should have been. Well, I mean, maybe you'll catch it on home release, but whatever. It's the scene where Josh is like, he's trying to figure out what's wrong with his brain, why he's, forgetting things, why he has this fog, as he calls it. So he goes to a brain specialist, a neuro doctor, I don't know what they call it, brain doctor.
Yeah. He goes to get a scan. Yeah, he gets a head scan.
Yeah, a PET scan, and it's a second visit, and they're like, we're gonna do one of those scary dunk 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 dunk.
Like MRI scan.
MRIs, yeah, exactly. So he
stay still, stay calm, ignore the noises.
Yeah, which is and that's
that one.
First of all, reference to The Exorcist much, because that has one of the more memorable MRI scan scenes in film history, I would say.
Probably one of the first one to use it in a horror film as well.
Yeah, where like the horror comes from how fucking loud it is, basically. Da, 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 da. This one isn't as loud.
We've seen it used a lot since, but I'm thinking The Exorcist must have been one of the earlier ones.
Yes.
If not the first.
So Josh gets in, he gets on a little table, he slides into the machine. It starts going bok, 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 but then everything shuts off. And he has a little stress ball thing they can contact the doctor with. And he's like, "Excuse me, hello?
No response.
Can I get out of here?" And then the comm link comes on. It's like, what does it say at first?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, he says the door is open. Like, I want to get out of here. And he's like, the door is open. You're like, but
what fucking door?
Yeah,
Let me out.
Do you mean the door to the room or some other door maybe? Mm-hmm. And then he says, "There's someone in the room with you." And he's like, "What?" And he keeps trying to like look down, like past his feet to see if someone's in there. And then from behind, where there's supposed to be a wall, you see two hands slowly move over his shoulders. And he can when you gotta feel someone behind you.
Yeah.
Like the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And he looks back, and then there's like a long tunnel with a fucking ghost crawling towards him. And it doesn't cut away. It's not like a quick, it just keeps crawling towards him.
Keeps coming, and he cannot move.
Oh my god, I almost shit my pants. It was so fucking scary. And I don't know if you thought the same thing.
No, I wasn't as scared as you. I think you even said that you were a little bit disappointed at my reaction.
Because I was like, so what did you think? You were like, of what? You were like, what?
Yeah, which one are you talking about? What do you mean?
The MRI scene.
But I mentioned then that I think I've been a little bit desensitized to the MRI scares because I've seen enough of them in other films and TV shows.
I guess, yeah.
But I wasn't as affected.
It's one of those, it's like a jump scare that goes on for too long. So you're like, the first jump, you're like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. No, it keeps going like,
keeps like, wait.
It won't stop.
No.
It won't stop.
It's effective though. It's effective, and I did appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as scared as you or the girls beside me. Jesus Christ!
You should have heard the first time. So people were. I mean, I guess they were kind of putting on a show. Yeah, but they were like at the top of their lungs, just screaming for seconds while that scene was going on.
It is unfortunate that all horror movies will bring out the stupid teens to go and just shout in theaters.
Yes.
Which is kind of a good segue to the next movie.
Yeah. Because, we're done with Insidious, The Red Door. I'll say this, to wrap it up. I liked it.
Yes.
It's a little bit counterproductive, because, it kind of wants to be a soft reboot.
Kinda.
Because it kind of retells the story from the first and second movie. Like, Josh and Dalton
Yeah, there's a
finding
lot
out
of
about the further and astral projecting and everything.
There's a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
That's true. Even though it's told differently, they're still just like, oh, remember this that happened? And remember this?
Yeah. But then it also wraps up with them not forgetting about the further, but remembering it so they can make sure nothing slips through again. Like they're like constant
so they can
guardians.
Guard it.
Yeah. So
that's why I say it's a good closing.
Yeah,
exactly. I hope they don't open that door again.
Exactly. But it felt like they kind of wanted to start the franchise up again and then completely cut it off at the end of this movie. It's like, okay.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
There is also this tiny sliver of perhaps they will use Ty Simpkins' character and what was her name? The actress? Sinclair Daniels' character, so Dalton and Chris, to keep the universe going somehow.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
If they become the new, what are they called in the first movie? Specs and
oh shit. Yeah, I don't
I don't remember the other guy.
No. Yeah, the Ghostbusters.
We know. Yeah. Like they're gonna become them or something.
Maybe.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Like, that's enough now. You made your little revival sequel. Leave it alone. Get out while you're still ahead.
Yes.
It's done.
It's done.
So, moving on then. Speaking of, like you said, talking of stupid people in the theater.
Stupid teenagers, specifically.
Teenagers, yeah. Well, yeah. Let's talk about Talk to Me.
Yes.
The Australian... People call it a thriller, but I think it's a horror movie.
It's a horror thriller, I guess.
Thriller, yeah.
Very indie.
Distributed, not in Sweden though, but distributed in the UK and America, I think, by A24. But the A24 logo didn't pop up when we watched it because they didn't handle it in this part of Europe, which was like But I would still call it an A24 movie.
Oh yeah, I'll count it as an A24.
It definitely has that A24 feeling.
Yes.
Because it's very, very modern, very of its time, and also very effective.
And very well made.
Yes.
Surprisingly, almost.
Yes. And let's just quickly talk about that, because I don't have like a great knowledge of the Racka Racka guys, but I knew of them. I'd seen them back in the day. They're still making, or up until the movie came out, I suppose, they were still making stuff on YouTube, but it was not as often. It was very, very spotty, because obviously they've been working on the movie. Yeah. But I remember back in the day, they made like, the classic, like, oh, we're gonna make like little short films and focus really much, to make it look like a real movie and have good special effects. Their thing was always like good, like gore and special effects and stuff like that. Which you used to see on YouTube. Now it's just, I don't know what YouTube is anymore. But back then it was like, hey, we're going to use this as a jumping off point to make a real movie. And they kind of did that. With little shorts, comedic shorts about zombies and murder and stuff. Yeah. And you always heard the name Racka Racka pop up when it came to stuff like that.
On the Wikipedia, it says that at the age of 13, they moved on to making a TV show and movies within like quotation marks.
But then, I hadn't really heard of them or even thought of them for, I don't know, 8-10 years. And then and then I saw the trailer for Talk to Me. I was like, ooh, this looks kind of interesting. And then I looked it up on YouTube, and then of course I was like, it's made by a YouTuber. Found out they're made by the Rack. I thought they were twins, but they're not twins. They're brothers, right?
They're brothers at least, aren't they twins?
I thought so too, but I think they're just brothers.
No. I mean, they're the same age.
Oh, okay.
No, twin brothers.
Okay, they are twins. Okay, so they are the Racka Racka twins. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, that's cool. Now we kind of have to watch it. Just cause, we're on YouTube.
Yeah. Also, it had, like you said, the trailer was very interesting, and it looked very cool.
Yes.
In general. Like, before I even knew it was YouTube, I was like, I want to watch this movie.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like, the trailer sold me on it. I was a little like, oh, there was things in the trailer that made me feel like, this is one of those progressive movies. But it was like, but it still looks so good, I have to watch it anyway.
Yes.
And
it reminded me a little bit of how I felt when we watched, or when we saw the trailers for oh my god, what's that movie we saw last year? Yes, Bodies. Yeah. Had similar vibes.
But well, that one was specifically about, how like modern teenagers or modern young people like handle a situation like this, and kind of critiquing the younger generation. This wasn't that at all. This is just a straight up horror story, ghost story almost.
Yeah.
Classic ghost story.
Actually, ghost story, yeah.
I mean, I mentioned that when we were leaving the theater. It reminded me a lot of... That's not spoiling things. It reminded me a lot of the Woman in Black. Even though they're very different, they have similar vibes.
No, but the ghost aspect was very familiar in that sense.
Classic ghost story.
Because it's classic,
the plot is simply a bunch of high school teenagers hang out, and one of them, through mysterious ways, have gotten a hold of an embalmed hand that supposedly comes from a medium, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And when
somewhere in another part of the world, and how it ended up in Australia, who knows? But through a friend of a friend of a friend,
exactly,
they come to have this hand.
And when you take the hand, like shake the hand, it's a left hand though, which so you have to shake a left hand, the left hand of God and everything. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
You and then you can actually see. You can you gain the medium's powers and can see ghosts or spirits.
Yeah.
And then you have to say, talk to me to see them.
Well, no, you can see them, but if you say talk to me, they can talk to you and they kind of enter you.
No, but that's when you say, I let you in.
Oh, maybe it is.
You have to start.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Talk to me, and
talk
then they
to
appear.
me is just to see it, and then I let you in is to allow them to take precedence.
Yeah. And then we never find out how they know this, but you can hold on to it for 90 seconds. And then you have to let go, or have someone help you let go, and then say, they have to say something, I don't remember, and blow out a candle.
They close the door by blowing out the candle.
Right, you gotta close the door.
Because obviously there's a candle involved.
Yeah. So
when is there not, when ghost stories
exactly,
are about?
you have to have a candle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically use this, and
it's like a party trick for them.
Yeah, it's a party trick, or like... Oh yeah, we're gonna go hang out in Jason's basement and smoke some weed. It's more like, no, we're gonna go hang out in Jason's basement and talk to ghosts. Yeah,
yeah, because it seems to have this like euphoric effect on them.
Yeah,
which I don't really understand how coming in contact with dead people can have a euphoric effect.
I'm not sure either.
Or is it perhaps the whole close to death thing?
I think it's partly close to death. It is also because they explain it like, when the spirit takes over and starts talking through you, you're like, speaking of astral projecting, you're sort of still, you're there, you're conscious, but you're not in control anymore, so you can like watch yourself. So it's an outer body experience, which,
I guess,
can, from what I understand, be very exhilarating. So that's why they do it. But some people, react badly to it, and been embarrassed over what they do when they're possessed by this,
yes, because depending on the
little Christian kid,
spirits,
who starts humping the
spirits
floor.
can also tell and making out with the dog. Because the spirits obviously can feel and tell who you are because they're in your body and brain,
and they know things.
So they obviously,
get your
if they're malicious,
stuff,
if they're malicious, they'll take advantage of that, which the poor Christian boy's spirit chose to do.
Yeah.
And then also, obviously, the big thing, when they allow a younger person to do it, the ghost takes advantage of the fact that he's young and weak.
Oh, sure, you mean like that? Sure, yeah.
Yes. That's at least what I assume
I
how
didn't see that
it
way.
Goes as bad as it does.
No, I didn't see that way. I don't know how much you want to spoil about that.
No, I'm just saying bad, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, sure, but I saw it that, it was the fact that he was under the spell, so to speak, for way longer than 90 seconds.
Well, they tried to stop it, but the spirit didn't really allow it, because it kind of, removed him from them. Started moving him around physically.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
And then they're like, shit, we're over time. Shit,
but that's also
shit,
because
what do we do now? Maybe it was just bad luck and he got an especially malicious spirit.
Yeah, he was strapped into a chair that was not as heavy as the other ones. That's why they strap you in, so you can't be
but there were
around.
people doing it just before.
Not in the same
in
chair.
the same chair.
I don't think it's the same chair.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe.
Either way, that's
a detail.
Yeah, that's the inciting incident. They keep doing this,
Yes.
and the little brother of the main character's best friend wants to do it. His sister says, "No, I won't allow you." And he's like, "Oh, come on." So
because he's what, like
13?
13?
He's supposed to be like 13, 15, something. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's young, obviously.
So the main character, who is, she's basically like a surrogate sister to that family.
Yeah, an adopted sister almost.
She when the sister leaves the room because she gets angry at her little brother, she says, "Okay, you can do it," basically, because he looks to her almost like a sister, like, "Let me do it."
Yeah.
But then, I specifically, an especially malicious spirit takes over. Is allowed to be in the body for like over 2 minutes.
Mm.
And when they release, and when they manage to like close the door, as they say, something slipped through the door before they closed it.
They do also, a little detail that they don't really acknowledge until way later in the movie. They most likely failed to close the door.
That too. Yeah, because nobody blew out the candle.
Nobody blew out the candle. I reacted to it. I remember going, did they blow out the candle?
Yeah.
Did they blow out the candle? No one talks about it in the movie until like 20 minutes later.
Yeah, we never actually blew out the candle, did we?
They got a bit distracted, which I can understand.
Yeah, because he starts trying to kill himself by smashing his face into a wall.
And shit.
Yeah. So then it'd be, from there it becomes like, well, like, how can we get him back, basically? But also, it's a lot of, it's a story of guilt.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention, like, the start of the movie is showing us that the main character, Mia, has sort of recently gone through loss. Her mother died. Yeah,
like a year before the movie starts, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So she's still not in the right headspace, really, to be talking to dead people, maybe?
Yeah, that, and, her father has been very distant since then.
Yes.
So they haven't had a good relationship. That's why she's been hanging out a lot with her friend instead. I mean, I'm not sure they're close before, but they've gotten even closer since then.
Yeah. Trying to the order of people are kind of confusing me, so I'm trying to figure out what the friend's name was, but I can't remember.
I don't remember.
And the pictures aren't really there, which is annoying.
But now we...
Oh no, Jade! Sorry, Jade is the friend, and her little brother Riley.
Yeah. But then, we haven't really... Once again, we got into the story a bit. What did you think of Talk to Me?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I think I said it when we left, like, I have no complaints at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Not even on, like, acting. Most of them did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing...
For, like, not being, super famous, awesome actors who have been around for 30 plus years.
Yeah, these are all new actors.
Yes.
The biggest name is Miranda Otto. No offense.
She has a small role.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because she is actually connected to the Conjuring universe as well. She plays the mom of the girl whose spirit first embodies the Annabelle doll. In Annabelle Creation,
true.
She's the mom who has the mask on, who lies in the bed all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
So she's a bit of a horror icon herself.
Yeah.
And here she plays, the best friend's mom.
Yeah.
I thought this was a great movie. For first-time directors, I mean, they've done a bunch of videos and stuff, but the first time, like, feature-length project for these directors, they did a terrific job with, like, setting mood, telling a story, getting great performances out of relatively fresh actors. Everything just
they all seem to have had, like, small roles in other things, but not like this.
No, yeah, exactly.
No.
They even...
Sorry, I just pressed into one of the writers. And unfortunately, he's listed for pre-production on Talk to Me with the 2.
Oh no! You shouldn't.
Hope that's just the rumor. We'll see.
Because this is one of those movies like...
Perfect standalone.
Yeah, what would a sequel be about? Oh, more people doing the Talk to Me thing? Okay.
Yeah.
How are you gonna do it differently? That's a topic for another episode.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah,
side note.
Good that you brought it up, because we're gonna have to talk about that at some point. Yeah, but for now, let's talk about this movie.
But the one of the brothers is listed as writer also, because the writing is really good.
It's good.
They're like, all of it was really good.
Yeah. I had certain pacing issues in the middle of the movie. It felt like, because the movie's relatively short. It's like an hour and 40, I think.
Hour 35.
Even okay. With credits. Yeah. Which is good. It's good. I think it's funny.
Yeah, because it didn't feel too short.
No.
Not really.
Not really. But like I said, I thought there was some pacing, because it was perfectly paced in the beginning, and the second half was great. There's just some parts in the middle where they're like figuring out the mystery, which is basically like 5 minutes, and then we're like, okay, now we kind of know. We didn't really find anything out, but now we're gonna get him back.
Let's try do this. Maybe it helps.
It's hanging out with Ducky or Ducky's brother, or whoever it is, at the bus station, and there some of the characters are like, no, this is getting too intense. But no, what are you meaning? This is the slow part. This is not getting too intense. You can't leave now. You should have left.
What you want to do seems too intense, so I'm gonna step back.
I guess. And then we move into the third act. There's really like... No, the second act is more than that. But it feels like this is like 3.5 acts. And there's that half act. The second and a half act in the middle is like... I don't know. It felt off.
It's a little bit... as I remember at least, it's a little bit choppy and a little bit too much back and forth.
Yes.
Not really getting to anything, because it does eventually lead to them still not knowing how to fix this and just going, fuck it, we'll try this.
Exactly.
Maybe that helps.
Exactly.
No one can really tell us what will help, so we'll just try things.
They could have almost cut out the whole part with the Ducky character.
Yes. Because Ducky's just there to show you like a little bit of a what's it called?
Cold open.
Yeah, and also like bad things can happen.
Yeah, this is what happened to the last person who had the hand, you know. Because we get a cold open where Ducky is going into a party where allegedly his younger brother has started to act weird. And we don't really know why at that point, but we find out that he had the hand, and, you know, he probably was possessed for too long and stuff like that, you know. He stabs Ducky in the gut and then stabs himself in the head.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, it's the first 2 minutes if you...
Yeah, but then we said that Ducky survives because they talk with him in the middle of the movie, so...
Yeah, well, he's not an important character.
No, he's not. He's literally in 2 scenes.
Yes.
But I gotta say, though, speaking of, like, younger directors, and how this, you know, in the trailers, it felt very progressive. I mean, they have a non-binary actor in this movie, which, you know, caused some controversy in the Middle East. Like, this movie is not gonna be shown in Kuwait or something.
Who?
The person who the very tomboyish girl.
Oh, Haley.
I think they are non-binary.
Yeah. So he identifies as non-binary transmasculine.
Yes, right, transmasculine.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yeah, sure, yeah. Didn't really. I mean,
doesn't really have anything to do with the character.
Exactly. That is never brought up in the movie.
Haley's just called Haley. That's it.
Yeah,
there's no mentioning of pronouns or anything really.
But I could definitely see some like knee-jerk reactionaries on YouTube like, "Oh my god, they have a trans person in this movie" when they see the trailer or something.
I just thought it was a tomboy.
Yeah, me too. But you know, it never became a controversy, which is good.
No.
But I mean, you got the vibe. It's A24. You have this person in the trailer. It's like, okay. It's a modern movie. Nothing wrong with that, but it's something, you know, it's in the back of my head. Because of all the stuff that happens on YouTube and in the internet, overall.
I mean, hey, they had a white Christian boy as well. Isn't that good?
I don't know. But then the movie...
It turned out to actually be a good guy. Just saying.
Yeah. But the movie's not that at all. There's no
focus on being progressive of any kind.
Exactly.
They focus on what happens in the story and how to fix the issue.
Yeah.
They don't care who you are or what you've done before, basically.
But what I was trying to get to is that because the directors are younger, I think they're in my age or maybe a little younger even, they kind of get younger people. So whenever you have the party scenes, especially in the beginning, it doesn't feel like 50-year-olds trying to write a teenage party scene. Like, it feels organic.
No. Yes.
Which is very good. Which made this movie not just one of the creepier movies I've seen this year, it's one of the funnier movies I've seen this year. The second time they do the whole talk to me thing, like the montage when the...
Oh, yeah. When it, like, all goes well kind of thing.
It's like a party scene, but they're having a seance, which is very funny.
Yeah.
I was laughing out loud, because it was so much fun. And even before that, there were, like, funny scenes, funny characters. The little brother's friend, who's like an asshole.
Oh,
awesome.
yes.
What, Tristram? No, what was his name? Tristan?
I
don't know. He's not really in the movie after that.
I don't remember. No, he's not that. He's just there to be like, that's what the stereotypical douchey 15-year-old will be.
Yeah, but hey.
But he's a bit of a contrast to Riley.
Yeah, like, he smoked the cigarette, Riley. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. Because show that Riley's the goody two-shoes, but he's still hanging out with, the bad kid.
Because also, maybe there aren't that many other kids in their neighborhood to hang out with. Kind of feels like a small town thing.
Yeah. But it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's also something that worked very well. The mixing of that, like, having it in 1 second be like laugh out loud and hilarious, and then completely switch to being, like, terrifying, worked.
Yes.
It didn't feel forced at all.
No, it was perfectly balanced, I suppose.
Exactly. So, like, the only issue I have are some pacing issues in the middle of the movie. Other than that, fucking 10 out of 10, I would say.
Exactly.
I
don't think because of the movie being so short, the pacing didn't really bother me that much. Okay. Even though small, because it was such a short moment where the pacing was kind of off.
Yeah, sure.
Had it been like a 2-hour movie and they had to stretch it out, then the pacing would have been really annoying if it kept going like that. Yeah. But since it's so short, it's like I can excuse it. It's fine.
Sure.
Thank God they didn't try to make it longer just to make a long movie.
Yeah.
They had everything you needed. Stupid ass characters, which is standard in horror films. Yeah. They need to be dumb.
Yeah.
All of them. But I like I said, 10 out of 10, really. I even think I gave it 4. I don't remember why I didn't give it 5.
Well, because it's not a movie that's going to, like, profoundly move you. It's just a good horror movie.
No, that's true.
Like, 9s and 10s are movies that affect you, on a deeper level than just being a good movie. So that's, I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well, or 4 out of 5. So, but it's a great movie, and I hope it does really well. Because, once again, I would count this as a quote unquote elevated horror movie. I know we don't want to use that word, but we keep using it.
But in the good sense.
In the good sense. This is, also because
100% in the good sense.
Also because of the A24 stamp, this is in the same camp as, like, Hereditary and what's the other one?
The Witch.
The Witch. Yeah, probably The Witch. Like, all of those movies, like the A24 horror movies.
Yes.
Bodies, if you will, which feels kind of forgotten. I wish more people talked about it back then. It was a really good movie.
Yes. I want to rewatch I give that a 4 as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my, my watched movies and how I've rated them. Yeah, it's Talk to Me and Bodies are definitely, like, recent favorite horror films.
Yeah.
But they're not, like you said, they're not emotionally impactful in the same way or memorable in the same way that Hereditary is.
No.
Hereditary is a 5 out of 5.
That is on a different level. Yeah.
But this was for like you said, for first-time directors, writers, producers, everything.
Really,
this was so close to being a 5 out of 5. If it would have been made with people who are more experienced, I'm assuming it would have been just as good as Hereditary.
Maybe.
Imagine if these guys keep doing this,
That's what I want to get to. Yes,
Holy shit!
Yes. That's why I want this to be a success, so they can keep making movies. Firstly, because I really think they could do some good stuff, but also I want to see, was this just a fluke? Did they have this one good idea, and now they're out of ideas?
Or will they develop and become even better?
Exactly. I hope they do. But I also like, maybe they just got lucky. I don't know. I want to find out.
I didn't like, because sometimes when you watch a movie, you go, yeah, this was good, but you can tell that it wasn't good because of them. It was just good.
Sure, yeah.
This one, this was good.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
I think, because, it helps that they didn't try to, like, Americanize it. They kept it in Australia. They stayed local. I think that helped.
Yes.
They put their own,
their
flavor on it.
It definitely had an Australian vibe with some of the characters. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And the spaces.
Yes.
So I think that helped a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But then if they start trying to be, like, more American or something, they're gonna... that might be where they trip.
Or, they could bring that style to American horror movies.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Or movies in general. They don't have to make own horror movies.
Yeah.
I think, based on what they did on YouTube, I would like to see an action movie from them.
I need to watch their YouTube before I say anything like that. I think I've seen some
You've
stuff.
You've probably seen some stuff
it.
years ago.
Yeah, but not intentionally looking at it as them.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that I know what they make for movies, I'm going to look at their YouTube in a different way.
Yeah, you should check it, because that was the first thing I actually went to their channel for the first time in years. And they have a bunch of, like, vlog stuff about the movie. Like, when they had a whole video about them going to Sundance with the movie and, about all the meetings you have there with potential buyers of the movie and stuff. It was interesting. It was a nice look behind the scenes. It's kind of like the Swedish Crazy Pictures YouTube channel. When they stopped making YouTube videos and started making movies instead, their channel became like a behind the scenes thing for their movies, and it's really interesting to see. That's another group I want to see their next movie, even though that's going to take a while.
Oh my god, yes. We talked about that in the first episode of the year, I think.
It was the last episode of last year.
Or the last, maybe that was done.
Where we talked about one of the better UFO Swedish movies in a while called UFO Sweden. Yeah. Great movie. If you know Swedish. Well, I guess there's subtitles.
It's on Netflix now, by the way, at least in Sweden.
All right. So I'm sure it's in European Netflix then.
Yeah. And hey, we should really get a VPN sponsor, but if you do have VPN, you can check it out.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, someone.
Yes. We get hundreds of views every month. You're going to make so much money off of us. Please.
You don't have to pay as much.
Yeah, just give us a free VPN.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Either way, rounding it off, Talk to Me and Insidious were both great movies, but I'm definitely going to talk about Talk to Me more and rate that higher.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it is objectively a better movie.
Yes.
Nothing against Insidious, but Talk to Me is a better movie.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to have to be it.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are we doing for next week?
You did fill in. You wanted to do a classic.
Right. Well, firstly because there's nothing interesting in the cinemas next week.
Not really, no.
And also because earlier this week, Monday, or I guess maybe the night leading up to Monday or whatever, William Friedkin died, which is very sad. I told you, well, I didn't finish the story, but I read it in like the last half hour I had at my job, and it just put a damper on that last half hour. I was like sulking and just sitting, not doing any work. It was like I was genuinely affected, because he's one of those. We've talked about him on the podcast before when we talked about the Exorcist movies and stuff like that, and French Connection. Yeah. He's one of those directors. He's always been around since he was born in the 30s. He's always been around. You've always known his movies. The Exorcist, French Connection, Sorcerer.
I'm assuming it's the way I felt like when oh no, I forgot his name now. When Brian O'Connor died.
Yeah.
Because I read that at work and I was like, oh, my day's ruined.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, oh, he's not supposed to die, It's like it's.
You're supposed to live forever. In
I don't want to put
something.
the voodoo on anything here, but it's gonna be like when because it's gonna happen eventually. When Steven Spielberg dies, it's gonna be weird because he's always been around. It's like, oh, what do you mean?
So we want to do a bit of a tribute.
Yes, we want to do a tribute. So we're gonna talk about because he's done a bunch of good movies. He even did good movies later in his career, but he has three big ones. It's The Exorcist, which we've talked about. It's The French Connection, which we've talked about. And then he has his remake of the French movie, I think, Wages of Fear, which he called Sorcerer, which we haven't talked about. But I think we should, because it is an interesting movie.
I haven't seen it, so it's one of those where I get to be exposed to a new movie or a classic.
Yeah.
You trying to make me look at actual movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just new trash.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're doing a bit of a tribute and just looking at one of Friedkin's classics for next week.
Yes.
And it is Sorcerer. So check that out if you want to follow along.
There will most likely also be a Patreon between that, but we haven't decided
exactly
what
what's that going to be.
is.
Yeah. Also, sorry for not we haven't
the last.
First of all, our Marriage Story Patreon episode was late, I think. And we still haven't released a Patreon companion piece to Meg 2, because we're recording it today. It's been some scheduling problems, but it's coming. It's coming.
We're restarting everything, you know. So we're working on it.
But it's happening.
Did our Meg 2 also get late?
It was late on YouTube because of of how the uploading to YouTube works through Podbean. It was a problem. Anyway, it's up now on YouTube.
Yes.
It's up everywhere. If you want to listen to us talk about the Meg 2 for an hour.
Of course you do. This has been a long outro.
Yes. Sorry about it. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene if you want to hear even more stuff, including our Marriage Story episode. And we will see you in the next one. But until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
The Spoilercast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced and directed by Tobias Vedén and hosted by Tobias and Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Daniel Geiso, Christopher Billén, Laura Kinney, Mom, Dad, and CK85.